Hello, and welcome to episode 17 of the HamCorp training manual. In this episode, we will make HV circuits and machine hulls, and we will automate sodium persulfate, ruby juice, as well as glowstone. Welcome back. Today, I want to make HV circuits. And we can do that by following this quest line. And actually, I can pretty much do this already. However, I want to do it with the better circuit components, these SMD components. So the SMD resistor is probably the first thing we can make. And actually, I need some right now because I'm making a quick batch of circuits. And I don't really want to make these old resistors anymore. I want to make the SMD ones. And this is very doable at this point. The SMD resistors are just polyethylene, carbon dust, and tantalum wire. I haven't talked about tantalum before, but there is a manganese vein right next to this village across the river. I actually found this before I found the tin vein, I think. And this was all the way back in like episode 1 or 2. I've mined up a bunch of tantalite. I'm processing it right now. This needs sodium persulfate. And the reason I'm doing this chemical bath recipe is because usually you get like a 10% chance for extra output, but here it's 30%. So that's pretty nice. And the tantalum I can process using my brand new upgraded blast furnace into hot tantalum, and then I can cool that with the chemical bath method. So getting tantalum is no longer a problem. It's a little rare, it's a little difficult to get, which makes me want to automate this sodium persulfate. And for sodium persulfate, I've looked at the chain for making this. I need some more logistics pipes parts, which is why I'm making that batch of circuits. But it's not too bad. It's mostly just oxygen and some sulfur and a little bit of sodium. And it can also be used for circuits if I ever run out of iron 3 chloride. Between episodes, I also blast furnaced and cooled the silicon solar grade ingots. These I'm going to chuck in the bending machine to get plates. And with those plates, I can make some transistors with some fine tin wire. And of course, I could make these HV circuits already, but like I said before, I want to make the SMD components first. These are in general cheaper to use than the basic components, but we can't make all of them at the moment. For example, the SMD transistor needs gallium foil. That's more expensive right now for us, so I'm not going to use that. SMD diodes need platinum wire. Now, I guess I could do this. Well, this isn't SMD, but this is the new recipe I'm going to use, the fine tantalum wire. But yeah, the SMD one needs platinum wire. SMD capacitors needs polyvinyl chloride, which I haven't made yet. That is actually within reach, and I could do that, but yeah, for now I'm just going to make the resistors. And actually, I think I'm going to use the tantalum recipe instead of, well, electrum is a bit cheaper right now. I think I'm going to use the electrum recipe for now. I just got done automating sulfuric acid and sodium persulfate. So let me just walk you through what I've done here. I have an MV gas turbine powering everything. That is enough to power everything. Transformer. Chemical reactor mixes sulfur dust and oxygen gas to get sulfur dioxide. Let's put into this tank. Sulfur dioxide and oxygen gas are combined to get sulfur trioxide in this tank. And finally, sulfur trioxide is mixed with water to get sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is useful in itself. That's why I have a high voltage tank here instead of an ultra low voltage tank like the other two intermediate products. So this will eventually build a buffer of 256 buckets. To get sodium persulfate, you need to mix sulfuric acid with sodium hydroxide and then electrolyze the sodium bisulfate that you get at the end. So to get the sodium hydroxide, that starts here. I have a chemical reactor that mixes sodium dust and water. There's no water in here because it gets recycled back and forth. This also produces hydrogen, which I'm putting into this tiny buffer tank. This is kind of a trash bin, pretty much, because there's an overflow valve on it set to 16,000 liters. So once it hits 16,000 liters, any more fluid that's put into this tank is going to get voided, because I don't really have a use for the hydrogen right now. And it's a byproduct anyway, so it does need to be, the overflow does need to be voided anyway, so that the rest doesn't back up. But anyway, so you get sodium hydroxide from this. The sodium hydroxide is put into a reactor behind this one. I'm on the other side now. Sodium hydroxide is mixed with sulfuric acid to get sodium bisulfate. Sodium bisulfate is electrolyzed to get hydrogen gas, which is again being put into the same overflow tank. And also it makes sodium persulfate, which is what we want. And this is going into this buffer. Sodium persulfate has a couple of uses. Most notably, it's used for making circuits, the same way iron 3 chloride is used. But it's also used in the chemical bath to get some nice dusts out of some of these crushed ores. For example, from pyrolusite ore, is that how you say it? Let me look it up. For example, from this pyrolusite ore, you can crush it to get crushed ore, and then you could wash it for a 11% chance of manganese dust, or you could chemical bath with sodium persulfate for a 70% chance of an extra manganese dust. So that's really nice. 70% is quite significant. And you can do a similar thing with tantalite for 30% extra chance of tantalum, which is also very nice. Those are two things that we need in the near future, especially the manganese dust, because that is used in making stainless steel. But we're not quite done yet. There is one more thing I need to do for stainless steel, and that is chrome. So chrome you can get from electrolyzing ruby dust, but that's really inefficient. And the better way to do this is by crushing it and then washing it for the 11% chance of chrome dust. Obviously, if you can go down this left tree, that's better, but the machines we have right now don't do byproducts because that starts at HV, except for the centrifuge. And once you wash it, you can take this purified ruby ore and mix it with hydrochloric acid and a tiny pile of sodium hydroxide dust, and then you get ruby juice. Ruby juice is very nice because you can centrifuge this. It only takes 2 seconds to centrifuge, which is very nice. Also, you recycle the hydrochloric acid, which is huge, and you get 50% chance of chrome dust, which is a much better return for the amount of ruby dust you're putting in. And you get this other stuff in as well, so that's nice. Much better than just electrolyzing the ruby dust. So I'm going to start working on the ruby juice setup. You know, actually, while I have you here, let's quickly make these HV circuits. Why not? Today is a big day for HamCorp. HV circuits. Now all that's left to enter HV is to make stainless steel. I've started collecting a bunch of materials to get 9 stacks of stainless steel. I think that's going to be a good start. That'll last maybe 10 minutes. So yeah. But first let me do this ruby juice thing. So here is the ruby juice setup. So let me run you through this. So first step, we have sodium hydroxide being made from sodium and water. This goes through the pipe into this auto workbench, which converts it into tiny piles. And the extra hydrogen that's produced here just gets sent to this trash bin. The tiny pile of sodium hydroxide dust is pulled into a mixer. This mixer has some hydrochloric acid in it that's recycled. And this mixer also receives ruby ores or ruby dusts from this chest. These will mix to make ruby juice. Ruby juice goes into the centrifuge, gets centrifuged, and you get your products, and you also get the hydrochloric acid back, which is being pumped back into the mixer. And I did manage to get enough chrome and manganese to get the stainless steel going. I actually have a stack already, and I have many more stacks being processed right now. Each one of these is going to take a minute, so this is about 8 hours of smelting. So one blast furnace is not really going to cut it, but I have a bunch of things I want to do around the base to kill time, so yeah, I'm just going to do those. Like, for example, I need to replenish my supply of bit and concrete. But more importantly, I've noticed that we're actually not producing wood fast enough. This thing is constantly empty. And the charcoal is actually going down over time. And not having wood is actually a problem because that means we're not making charcoal here, which means we're not making benzene. And that is a big problem because we have started relying pretty heavily on this benzene. Yeah, like look at that, it's already being requested. So I'm going to make a second crop manager and a second oak bonsai farm. I also do want to decorate the maintenance tunnels and have them actually look nice. So yeah, I have a couple of things to do while this stuff smelts. So I'll be back once I have my chores done and we'll see how much stainless steel we have to work with. Let me put this back in. So I've had this blast furnace running all day. And I have a nice big stash of stainless steel. However, the pollution is starting to build. I have a lot of debuffs all the time. We'll have to do something about that. But for now, let's make the first HV machine hull. Actually, let's make the first 4. So now that we're in HV, it's probably a good time to look at the next tier of components and see what kind of materials they use. We're going to need a lot of electric motors. This needs gold and silver, steel, stainless steel, and more silver. The pumps need, more of the same. Conveyor modules are the same. Electric pistons are the same. Robot arms are the same, but they also need HV circuits. Emitters need chrome rods and eyes of ender. So that's something to keep in mind. And sensors, they also need the same thing as the emitter, obviously. Silver is fine. We can find silver veins in the Twilight Forest. But gold is a bit more problematic. You can get gold from magnetite veins. I mean, I guess they're even called gold veins, but you don't get a lot. So what I'm going to do for gold is I'm going to set up a glowstone farm. Glowstone can be centrifuged into redstone dust and gold dust. So that's really nice. And glowstone we can get from glowflowers, which I've already started gathering. I only have 3. I need more. But we can hook this up to a crop manager, and then, In fact, I've already expanded the farm a little bit for a second oak bonsai plantation. I'm going to expand further that way and set up the glowstone. And to make piping easier downstairs, I have dug out this whole area just because it was very claustrophobic before. So this is much nicer. I'm also going to reorganize these pipes and make them a little better. What is this? Is this supposed to be this way? Don't think so. So I've expanded the farm here, and I've made a glowflower farm. This one is nice because you don't have to breed every single seed here. You can just take the glowflowers that you get. They're going into this drawer here, but you can take them and you can just plant them back into the crop sticks. So this is very easy to scale up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take those glowflowers and set up some quick processing here. I know this is the chemicals plant, but really it's just a passive automations plant. Okay, so what I have here is something that's not plugged in to the power. So what I have here is an extractor for the glowflower, which is coming in right now. That's going to put glowstone dust into this drawer. Glowstone dust is going to get sucked into the centrifuge. Centrifuge is going to centrifuge it into redstone dust and gold, and there's going to be stored here. Once these fill up, this will eventually backlog, and then this will start filling up with glowstone. So we are also collecting some glowstone from this, but that's going to take a while and a half. I'm also using an MV extractor here. I could even maybe use an HV one actually, because an HV one would use 32 EU per tick, and I'm using an LV gas turbine, which is providing 32 EU per tick. But yeah, MV is fine for now. Oh, I need to lock this. And then this is going to centrifuge the glowstone, and gold and redstone sorted. So now I'm going to start pushing into HV and start doing some of the quests in the quest book. But my immediate goal for right now is actually to get a nanosuit. So the nanosuit needs quite a bit of HV infrastructure. It needs an HV assembler, it needs energetic alloy, it needs nanocrystals, which need HV engravers, also needs energy crystals, obviously, HV autoclave. So a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to start working on those, and once I have any interesting developments, I will report back. But also I think it's almost time to have a dedicated parts factory. Just a place where I put all of my machines. This is where the auto crafting is going to happen. And now that we have HV machines, I think that's a good kind of starting point for total automation of everything. I mean, I did a little bit of automation here, but it's not really a lot. But yeah, let's get started pushing into HV. Thank you for watching this episode of the HamCorp Training Manual. In the next episode, we will construct a blast furnace hall, as well as a dedicated parts factory. We will set up more on-demand auto crafting and expand our blast furnace by building a quad EBF. HamCorp is pleased to announce that the training videos have received better reception than initially anticipated, and we would like to thank our employees for such high levels of engagement. See you next time.